ha ha. We are starting our broadcast. La 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 la. We are enjoying this holiday. Fa la la la. We're sharing gratitude this morning. Ooh ha ha. Welcome to Love Morning. Welcome to this day and welcome to this morning. What have you to say? Share something from your heart. Make it feel good. And when you share it with us, we'll all be understood. Welcome to Love Morning. If you're new here, that song is made up on the spot every morning. Do a little improv-y, little get my fear kick in a little bit. So we'll see if I'm just doing a little quick test and seeing if we are broadcasting and working live right now. Cool. Seems to be working on the YouTubers and on Facebook. Welcome. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, live or watching this recording, hi. I've got a new little setup today, so I think it might be working better. Yesterday I was really frustrated because yesterday's broadcast was awesome and it didn't record on the high quality. I was able to get the recording off Facebook and I made some clips from it that I put on on YouTube, and I shared with Lisa, and it was so sweet. She wanted to sit and watch it on my lap while she watched me talk about how much I love her and how great I think she is. It was really sweet. So I'm grateful for this deepening, incredible relationship with my beloved. It's just, I feel so anchored. I have this certainty and this clarity because of this partnership. So feeling grateful for that. Good morning, Danielle. And good morning, Adrienne. Is that working? Let's try that again. This is Love Morning. It's a daily practice of sharing gratitude and connection. So part of it is we share things that we're grateful for. Part of it is we remind ourselves to be love ambassadors in the world, and is there opportunities we have as we go through the day to be more connecting, more loving, more kind, more complimentary, maybe compassionate, maybe patient. Maybe being a love ambassador just means being a better listener. Sometimes being a better listener means noticing the thing that you want to say and questioning, do I need to say that? Is the real gift in this moment listening, pure listening, and not offering my story to go with it? Now, this is something that I struggle with, because sometimes offering your story is exactly a beautiful way to feel connection and go, we are going through the same things. I feel what you're feeling. You're not alone. In fact, I was at an event this weekend, and there was a really cool guy there who, after this kind of performance, he confessed that he had a crush on one of the female performers or facilitators, and he was feeling really humiliated because she basically said, that is so sweet, thank you. And he was just, obviously that's, you take a risk, you put your heart out there, and it was not received. And so I listened to him, I understood, and I said, hey, I've done that. I have been in this circumstance, this community, and witnessed the strength and power and of the women. This is before I met Lisa. So I guess this happens a lot. You see someone in their power and singing and performing and playing instruments, and you go, wow, and I go, so I told him, hey, I've been there, and I think it's pretty common to have feelings come up. And so bravo for saying something. The point is that you had the feeling and you expressed it. No one's awkward. There's no heart. There's nothing. It doesn't mean that you guys are gonna be in a relationship, which is a bummer, but you did it. And he felt really relieved knowing that he was not a big fool for doing this thing. So in that situation, I think it made sense for me to tell a personal story in response to his vulnerability. But that's not always the case. More and more, I am trying to pause before I share. I've just got so many good stories. But centering the conversation back on you, even if it makes sense or there's logic or you're trying to problem solving is not always the objective. We forget that, especially the masculine. The objective is to soothe someone, to make them feel grounded, to work on their dysregulation, to make them feel heard and connected. And that often requires just, wow, that is quite a thing that you're going through. I can't imagine what that must be like. Or questions that go deeper into their experience. Wow, you mentioned that you were concerned about the weather. I'm curious what the weather had to do with what you were experiencing. I'm curious about, oh, you mentioned this, or the deeper inquiry into their experience is a way to be a love ambassador and be a good listener. So I leave you that. No, I'm not leaving. I'm still here. We're sharing gratitude. What are you grateful for? And where are you? I'm in San Diego, California, where it is sunny outside. Good morning, Caitlin. Caitlin says, I'm grateful for love mornings. And then she left 3 hearts in a beautiful color spectrum. I think I might borrow that. It's a pink, purple, and blue, which is, I love, like, that's my favorite LED pattern, between pink, purple, blue, and white. Razorblade saying, love in the pink Santa hat. Thank you. I actually have 3 pink Santa hats, but I think this is the nicest one. And it matches this top, so I thought, you know what? Let's dress up today. Let's look fancy. Lisa's parents are coming into town today. They're flying right now. So I can say things knowing that they're not listening, although they could listen to this archive. So I will not get out of line. Very much looking forward to meeting the people who have raised my favorite person. And looking forward to my parents meeting her parents at the end of the week. Danielle, good morning. She says, I'm grateful for silly Xmas sweaters. Been wearing them for 3 days now. Might go all December. Ooh, nice. I do have one wacky Christmas sweater. Maybe it'll be time to wear that. Good morning, Gerbot. Gerbot is grateful for you feeling good this morning. Yeah. I actually woke up at like 5, a little after like 5:30 today. So I'm hoping that doesn't catch up to me. But I woke up, I have a bunch of things that I'm inspired and working on. I was working on some video from the last time Asher visited a year ago that I realized I'd never quite edited. But today is a celebratory day when it comes to Asher for me. Is it his birthday? No. It is the anniversary, the 13-year anniversary of my vasectomy, which before I did that, I froze some sperm, 5 vials frozen, which after a long courting process and get to know you process with Amy, sent off 3 of those vials. And now we have baby Asher, not a baby Asher, 4.5-year-old Asher, who's coming to visit at the end of this month. So celebrating that anniversary and 2 other anniversaries, which I'll share in a moment. Good morning, Moosecock. Good morning, Brandy. Good to see you again. Good morning, Chris. Brandy says, I am in Enfield, Connecticut, just about south of Springfield. Brandy is grateful for a long overdue shower. Nice. Joyous, good morning. Joyous is continuously grateful for patience. I'm also feeling grateful for tears that turn into laughter. I've been having a lot of nice tears over the weekend and since the weekend. That does feel good. Chris, thank you for the celebratory emojis. Randy says, I am also uber awake and more grounded and centered than usual. Well, nice. I'm glad that we are in this wonderful space. So, okay, my other two anniversaries today. What an auspicious day. 14 years ago, I went to Playa del Carmen with my friend Dimitri, and I forgot my meds. I was on Cerazone. I'd been on for 10 years, over 10 years, which is an anxiety and depression medication. It's kind of in the Prozac family. They don't give it anymore because a lot of people had liver damage from it. Not me, thankfully. But 14 years ago, went to Playa del Carmen, did not have my meds with me. It was super freaked out about what was going to happen, and I did fine. And so I never took them again. So I've been off prescription pharmaceuticals for anxiety and depression for 14 years today. Woo! As well as 13 years shooting blanks since my vasectomy. And get this, I think is it 26 years? I think 26 years ago today is when I registered my very first domain name, prehensile.com. Wowza. Good morning, Jason. Good morning, Vesper. I'm grateful that I'm going to get to see you in January. Hi, Valerie. Valerie says, I'm quite grateful for the startup community in San Diego and all the volunteers who put on incredible events in 2023, all led by volunteers. Nice. I'm excited for my year-end review. I always, I don't know, 10, 15 years I've been doing this. End of the year, I just go through my calendar and I list off all the things that happened. You know, Burning Man, this event, this thing, everything that happened. Not everything, but, you know, the stuff that are like, oh, like, even if it's like my 24th Burning Man, that's a thing. It doesn't have to be a first thing. And I'm always so surprised and delighted by how much more happened than I remember. And this year, I feel like so much has happened this year. I mean, I stopped using intoxicants in January. I started doing breath work. I started seeing multiple therapists. I met Lisa. I mean, there's just, wow, it's been a big year for me. In fact, it's kind of like mind-blowing as I'm talking with Lisa. Like, it's like, I feel like 5 years of growth and intensity has happened in the last 6 months, really. But combine that with the 3 months previous to that, when I was in heavy personal growth mode, like, whoa, this has been a year. Thank you, Joyous. Vesper says, I stopped taking Wellbutrin in May. It's been challenging, especially as the days keep getting shorter. Well, bravo. Good for you. Have you found any other tactics, techniques, supplements that have been helpful? I found that microdosing psilocybin stack was really helpful for me. I'm not doing it currently, but periodically I will do I think like 2 days on, 1 day off, and I have a wonderful product that ships if you're curious about trying it. Brandy says, I'm grateful for the way the clouds in the sky out here look today. They range from blue to white to all sorts of grays. Much love to you, Chris. I am grateful that I'm going to see my mom and maybe my dad today before I get to meet my Lisa's parents. I was at this retreat this weekend, and one of the things that I kind of thought about during meditation was like, I need to record my parents just to get them on camera Like I have so much footage of my grandparents, but not even close to that much of my parents. And and then I got home and I just now was cleaning out a bookshelf because I made space for Lisa to have more space. She now has two shelves on the bookshelf. Look at me. I'm growing, adapting, integrating, cohabitating. And and so I was going through some old notebooks, and I found a notebook from a retreat that I went to like 3 years ago. And in my notes from that retreat, it said, record your parents. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So I'm going to try to do that today, or at least more of it today. I think it's like I will try to do it on multiple times like I did with my grandpa. Because, sometimes people are just in the zone and sometimes they're not. And you want to do low pressure. Good morning, Brent. Hello to you in Florida, I believe, unless you are on vacation. I am grateful that I just ordered some new Ray-Bans. I think I've shared a few times, I got these Ray-Bans that take pictures and video. And I like them, but I decided that I'm going to get the prescription ones with progressives. So this look of black frames may become a much more common look for me, as I'm going to try to wear so that, because I wear my white glasses a lot. I wish these were white. Boy, that would be the best. But I'm going to see how I do with reading glasses and progressives, and just so I can drive and also check my phone at the same time. So I ordered those this morning. I tried to order them on their website many times, and it wouldn't go through. I was frustrated, but so I'm grateful for a new digital toy. I use these actually at First Saturdays, because First Saturdays I try to take some footage of the event so that I can share it with the volunteers. But I don't like to have my camera out. But this way I can just go boop, and now I'm recording. You can see probably the light is blinking and pulsing. That means I'm recording. I shouldn't tell you that, although I want to be consensual. And I have it now set to do 15-second bursts. So you just go ding, ding. And so I took clips during the event without being disruptive, without making people feel like they were being hounded or on. And that's for volunteers and for people that are being served, just so. It's telling me I've got a mattress. I got to turn that off. I don't want to get. It has speakers in it, so it plays music and gives you messages, and you can actually access like AI. You can ask what time is sunset and things like that. Anyway, so I decided to splurge and get some prescription glasses. I decided not to get sunglasses or transitions because I don't like wearing sunglasses that much, for two reasons. One, I don't know. I've never had a nice pair of sunglasses, and I don't feel like I see better with sunglasses. And two, I'm always asking people to see their eyes when I talk to them, so I don't want to just have my go-to glasses filter my eyes. I want people to see my eyes as I talk to them. Hello. Vesper sharing the things that have been working: microdosing periodically, daily yoga in the morning, breathwork, visualization, and other anxiety calming techniques as it comes up. Mostly just trying to settle into feeling everything rather than numbing, and reminding myself that it's okay to be not okay. Yeah. The video that I made 2 videos, clips from yesterday's broadcast, but one of the ones that really I rewatched, I'm like, I really like this. Is that when we learn to accept and love the breadth of who we are, not just who we are at our best, but we accept who we are when we're struggling, not trying to change it, not being ashamed of it, just it's all part of our beautiful humanness. When we can fully accept that breath, it allows us to have compassion for everyone. And I think that is something that I've really been working on, and I think it's one of the reasons why I I feel like I love everyone. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't get irked and annoyed by people, and I don't like kind of get judgy. But even within the judgy or above the judgy is love and compassion and understanding of everyone's breadth. Brent shared 12 years ago on Facebook, he said, if you know who HR Pufnstuf is, you may need glasses. Speaking of glasses, so my mom just had cataract surgery. She has worn glasses since she was 8 years old, and she just got cataract surgery. And now, not only can she see without glasses, she also doesn't even need reading glasses. She's bionic. And it's so cool because I've known her my whole life with kind of glasses. And I think glasses do feel like a little bit of it's a little bit of a mask, it's like a little, can be a little distancing. It's jewelry, but there's a little distancing. And she's really welcoming this kind of opening up of her face and her eyes. And after, it took me 20 minutes to like get used to it. And which is another reason why I want to interview her today and talk to her with her beautiful new face. Same face, but more available. Vesper, yeah, whatever you want to bring for donation. I mean, don't weigh yourself down so you have to pay extra for baggage for Saturday stuff, because I'm sure there's places near you. Like someone wanted to ship me like a box of used clothes. I'm like, that's going to cost you like $50. Don't do that. Just give it to a local place. Or send me $50 because we can use $50 way better than a bag of clothes. Who else has something that they're grateful for? I am grateful that I'm supposed to be recording a Stay Sparked episode today. Although I just got a note saying one of them is having construction, so it may not work this morning. But I'm excited about the topic. I think we're going to talk about honesty. Honesty, white lies, and what a tangled web we weave. And kind of why honesty is always the best, except when it's not. And like, what are the times when it's not the best thing to just be honest? For example, if you're dealing with someone with dementia, you don't need to tell them the truth and correct them. Meet them in their reality. Or if somebody is trying to build up evidence for some negative spiraling belief, like, can you see the wrinkles here? Am I getting older? You don't need to, even if you see wrinkles. Now that's an example maybe of having a practice thing, like I don't think that is a relevant question. I find you beautiful. Something like that. But people sometimes say, I'm just being honest, man. I don't like that shirt. I'm just being honest. Like, did someone ask you if they like the shirt? Because that's just cruelty. That's just meanness. There's no reason to. You don't have to. Being honest doesn't mean sharing every thought in your head, especially negative ones. Being honest means if someone says, "Hey, I'm not sure if this shirt works," or if I feel like it's gotten tighter, is it flattering? And if you don't think it's flattering, you say, yeah, I think you look better in other outfits. I don't think that's the best look on you. That's honest. Or if, what's an example? Well, maybe I'll save it for the show. Cool. Great, Vesper. Carolyn, hello. I just was looking and saw an old thing I wrote about the year that I met you on Playa. I'm not sure the year we met, but the year that we had a connection on Playa. Carolyn says, I am grateful for this new, loving, peaceful relationship with the family of my deceased kid's dad, who died in May. We had a strained relationship for the 12 years prior, and they are welcoming me now, and it means so much. Oh, that is beautiful. What what a wonderful thing to have tragedy result in peace, to have heartbreak lead to heart connection. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Carolyn. Anyone else want to share something that they are grateful for? I'm super grateful that I'm going to get a visit from Amy and Asher at the end of the month. I just saw an old picture of me about at Asher's age, and I'm like, holy crap, we look the same. He is a mini me. Abigail says, grateful for the ability to stock my fridge for the week. Yeah. I'm grateful that Lisa is comfortable and enjoys doing grocery shopping and cooking, because I hate it. I hate grocery shopping. I prefer not to cook, but I love doing dishes. I don't love doing dishes, but if there's a choice of, hey, if you cook, I'll clean, I'm like, yes, please cook. So that's great. We seem to have a very wonderful balance. And I think that we're so dedicated to gifting and generosity towards one another that it's really easy to not feel like I'm always doing this, you're always doing that. Although I did, so I'll give you an example of an honesty thing. This morning, Lisa was taking the sheets off to clean the sheets. And I said, I want to share a thought that I had, that last week you stripped the bed and put the sheets in the laundry, and then you left for the retreat. And later that night, I watched TV until I got sleepy, and then I staggered into the bedroom to go to bed, and there were no sheets on the bed. And I had this moment where I was like, ugh, and like frustrated. And so I would like to start thinking of washing the sheets as including making the bed when you're done. Now it turns out in that situation, I said, or make sure you let me know, hey, the bed's not made, so that I make a point of doing it before I'm tired and want to go to bed. And she said, oh, I did mention that, so maybe you didn't hear me. And I was like, oh, okay, well. And then I made a joke. I go, oh, I rarely listen to you, so that tracks. But that was an example of like, if I didn't say it, it could have been a lingering little non-honest resentment if I pretended that it didn't bother me. So that, and I didn't say it with any viciousness. I said it as, I had this reaction. What can we do to avoid that in the future? And yeah, and I think, and so as we build trust with one another, I trust you to say something, and then I won't always try to be worrying. What are you thinking? Are you upset or what? But so it's that honesty can really, even if like in the moment she was like, I'm always doing laundry, and you complain, like she could then work through that thought. She didn't have that thought, but you gotta risk someone having a momentary reaction to the honest thing you say, and then trust that you can get to the other side of it, especially when you speak in nonviolent communication style of communication. If you don't know nonviolent communication, there are few tools as powerful and effective in helping your relationships than nonviolent communication. And I don't mean like study it like you do it exactly word for word, but just understanding the concepts behind it and how to discuss ideas from I statements, from understanding what a feeling is, understanding what the objective is in resolution, and allowing people to hear things without being defensive. It's so significant. Gerbot says, I'm grateful for your love for all and sharing that consistently. Me? Thanks, Gerbot. I was just thinking yesterday about you, Gerbot, and how, I'm grateful for you. And I think there's a combination of like your consistent presence here, your consistent vibe here, and then the every once in a while seeing you in gratitude and seeing your face and your smile and your presence. It's very special for me to see people here and then also see people's faces in Zoom or in person. Like I've met Vesper in person. She came out to the spin party for Pink Heart a couple years ago. Last year? No, I don't know. And she's going to do it again. So if you are thinking of, man, it would be fun to hang out and meet other Pink Heart people and other love ambassadors, January 13th in San Diego is Pink Heart's fundraiser at Spin. And if you're like, I want more than just a night out and a couple dance floor hugs, I'm also doing my retreat workshop weekend, that weekend, 13th, 14th in January. Thank you, Gerbot. Vesper says, I'm grateful for the great connections I've made through my shop. Really lovely people with all kinds of fascinating stories. I love the sense of community here. That is so awesome. And it's a vintage store, if I'm right, if I'm remembering correctly. Vesper also saying, in reference to the communication style, we call that relational hygiene, keeping communication open and clear between us in small increments so that the plaque of resentment does not build up over time. Yes. I was hoping you were going to say that, Gerbot. Any questions or about any of it, please let me know. Like there's a practice, there's two practices that Lisa and I do that really give me faith in us. Sometimes I just posted this grand declaration of our love, and 99% of people are so excited and happy. And then there's a few people that are like, well, you're in the honeymoon stage, and it's going to take work. And I'm like, I think I get that. We're familiar with that. Lisa does couples therapy, not therapy, just couples coaching with her mentor, and we have other mentors, and we have two of our main practices. One, every night before we go to sleep, we say, what I appreciate about you is, and we get pretty deep. I'm like, man, we should be recording these because it's so touching. Every night, what I appreciate about you is blank. And it allows us just kind of bring our headspace into, wow, this human being is amazing. And we also, every once in a while, probably every 2 weeks maybe, we do is there anything unsaid that you need to say? And the phrasing that helps me the best, is there anything you don't want to tell me or you're afraid to tell me? And that goes to that, like, is there, like, I got irked when you left me with an unmade bed. Not a big deal, but by just getting out there, then we trust each other not to build up resentments. And there's something that I heard, I don't go to 12-step meetings, but I went to one at Burning Man, and a guy shared this idea that just has been so impactful to me. He said, when you put a secret in a box, it starts to multiply. So the way to maintain intimacy and closeness with someone is keep the box empty. Keep the box empty. So the minute you have this thought of like, ugh, I wish they didn't do that, like, that's now something in the box. Or, you know what? I don't want them to know that I've been looking at porn when they're out of town. That's now in the box. And once you have things in the box, you now have a barrier to true intimacy, which is allowing someone to see you fully as you are as a human. But if you can, like, our goal is to allow the other person to love the fullness of my humanness, including the things that I'm embarrassed about. Then you keep the box empty, and you keep the box empty, and you keep the box empty. Once something in the box, it starts to build. And if you get doing that too long, it's tough to get out of it. And then you are having a relation. Your partner is having a relationship with a false version or interpretation of you. And then it just gets more and more fragile. But if you can have the box empty and the true connection to your raw fullness and my raw fullness, that can go through a lot. Says the guy who is only, 6.5 months into this relationship. So I could be full of my own shit. But we're also basing these practices on the wisdom of teachers who have helped thousands and thousands and thousands of couples over 5 decades. Yeah, isn't that box concept good, Joyous? Yeah. So, and the other thing that I'm probably, this is all the stuff I'm going to be talking about during today's broadcast, but there are times and there are some relationships where the goal is not transparent intimacy, because that requires you have to be on the same page that what we want is we want to build deep trust and deep intimacy. But not all relationships are like that. Like your coworkers, that's a lot to ask to be, in full transparency. You might. I try to, for the most part, with people but a lot of people, the work is not the place to do that. And for a lot of people, even like family is not the place. If you have a parent who has religious beliefs that just, there's no space for them to accept certain parts of you, you might make the decision that I am going to choose harmony over a potential breakdown by giving them the truth and by trying to get the box empty. Over time, though, I think what people often find, like if you really want to repair a relationship with family, you got to get the box empty. And that is very difficult when people get defensive. And, so like last year, during this year, when I was going through my therapy and looking into my trauma, I realized that in my box, I had these awarenesses, and I became aware through therapy that there were things that I didn't get from my parents as a kid that I needed. And I knew that by sharing that, one of the reactions could be, you fucking ingrateful kid, like you overly sensitive, whatever, and you're blaming me for your problems. And so I really massaged the way I messaged things, and I said, preface it, but look, you guys, I have nothing but love and admiration for you guys. I think that considering the time that you absolutely crushed parenting, you did the best you could with what you had. I'm so grateful. And as I'm working on these aspects of myself that I'm struggling with, I'm recognizing that there were times when I think I needed more approval that I didn't get. And so part of getting the box empty so that we can really be here as truly intimate, connected human beings in our fullness is to acknowledge the things in the past that have lingered and that we've held on to, whether we know it or not. Some of it's subconscious. Like my stuff, I had no idea that I had that barrier, that I had that lack of self-worth because of childhood needs that were unmet for even a brief period of time. But that's a risky thing, and my parents think we're at a place where they could totally hear it and accept it, and we're in a receptive place. There is, if you might say, I know my parents, and there's no way that they'd be willing to take any responsibility. That also, keep in mind, I said this in a way that I wasn't really asking them to take any responsibility. I was simply stating a state of things with no judgment. Hope that makes some sense, but it's all in this idea of honesty, and sometimes harmony is a valid choice, and you might want to keep things in the box to keep harmony, but it's not the same thing as intimacy, and the real divine relationships are only going to happen when the box is empty. Vesper shared that the name of her store is Zero Waste Market and Refill Store. That's even better. So awesome. All right. Thank you, Gerbot. Hello, Michael in the Chicago area. Thalia says, I 100% agree. Revealing those things we are afraid and ashamed of and being accepted and embraced for them is such a beautiful form of intimacy. Well, I have enjoyed spending this morning of intimacy with you. Boy, I've been talking a long time. I must like you. So I try to be here every day at 9 a.m. and then some gratitude at noon in Zoom and 6 p.m. at Zoom. And I want to remind everyone to keep looking for things to be grateful for. You might even jot them down through your day and then read it to us, copy paste it to us here. There was someone yesterday, Lisa yesterday in gratitude, she shared that her coworkers got her tickets to see Stevie Nicks, who is her favorite by far. And the joy that she showed as she was explaining her gratitude for this third row tickets to Stevie Nicks that's in her future and the gift, it was so warming and nourishing and beautiful to witness this gratitude. So I encourage you to join, and even if you don't want to share, you can still listen and just be present with people who are in a practice of gratitude. And by practice of gratitude, I don't mean you pretend everything's perfect and say, okay, I'm going to just think about positivity and good. Gratitude practice is about saying the world is filled with very difficult things and suffering and inequality. And there's beautiful sunrises and smiling people and incredible food and washing machines that clean your clothes for you, etc., etc., etc. Joyce says, some of those conversations with parents are so difficult. Thank you and the Pink Path for teaching me how to better have them. Thank you, Joyce. That's wonderful to hear. And full disclosure, I feel so lucky. My parents are pretty awesome. Even with their beautiful humanness, they are exceptional human beings that have made so much space for my uniqueness, and we've gone through some journeys together, and they've stuck with me to a point where we're now true friends. So I'm going to see them at a later day, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you. And since I got to record a podcast in a few minutes, we should finish this up. So wherever you are, let's give ourselves a squeeze. Having gratitude for this body, this moment, for the tools that allow us to connect, for the ability to draw upon our inner warmth and share that, to summon that knowledge that we are a gift. And even if we're afraid that someone might not receive that gift, or someone might not have the capacity to reflect back the light we shine, that we are ambassadors and we have the ability to live a life of purpose simply by connecting with fellow humans, showing kindness, looking for ways that we can add our gifts to the world. So let's hug one another in that place of mutual support as we take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and each of you beautiful love ambassadors, thanks for being here for this Hug Nation Love Morning. I love you. And if you want details on the January 13th, 14th physical get-together, retreat, dance party, Love Ambassador Summit, shoot me a note. I love you.